Hello and welcome to You Skip That. I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
This is the podcast where we introduce each other to movies the other one hasn't seen before. This is my week. Today we're talking about a movie that has been part of my life for, ever since 1999.
So specific.
So specific. I mean, yeah, when the movie came out, I didn't see it in the theater, but I saw it shortly after it came out on video, and it just blew my mind. I've always been interested in ancient Egypt, all the mythology that goes with it and all that.
Yeah.
Less so as I've gotten older. You know, you outgrow some things and you find new interests, but it still has always interested me. So when this came out, I had to see it. A little young to see it in the theater, but I am speaking, of course, what could I be talking about from 1999, featuring Egyptian mythology, then the Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, Arnold Vosloo, Kevin J. O'Connor, starring The Mummy. This is a great action movie.
It was pretty great.
Okay, I was about to
It was very good.
I was about to ask you. Good, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's kind of a swashbuckling kind of...
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of the most is Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's got that in there. It's got some Indiana Jones vibes.
Yeah, it kind of... Because, yeah, it has the Indiana Jones of, like, the early 20th century. Pull out a pistol and then grab a sword kind of action, but it also has that weird supernatural element the Pirates of the Caribbean brings that Indiana Jones saves for one scene at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
This just dedicates half the movie to that. It's like, hey, what if the Ark of the Covenant was opened in, like, the first half of the movie?
Right.
And then things got worse.
It also has, I don't know how many of our listeners play video games, but big Uncharted vibes.
Oh, big Uncharted vibes.
Yeah, Uncharted took notes from this.
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Uncharted is modern, but other than that, this could have been.
Oh, yeah, because Uncharted always has that third act turn where it's like this really grounded treasure hunting adventure suddenly becomes like a zombie horror,
right,
or the Yeti. Or whatever the heck was happening in the third one.
I don't know. Third one was not my favorite. Anyways, I'm glad to be able to say this after my last couple movies of Nice Guys and Arthur Christmas. This movie did really well. In fact, apparently the director, Stephen Sommers, got a call the day after it came out from Universal executives going, "We need another one." We didn't need another one. One was fine. Seriously, I'm glad
you flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked this one.
Yeah.
Skip the other ones.
Okay.
I've never seen 3. 2 is just stupid and weird, and
yeah,
it's got some fun action sequences, but while this one kind of has that perfect balance, that one goes way into reincarnation, and they have a kid, which is never a good idea.
Yeah.
In movies. I mean, if you want to have kids in real life, go ahead. That's your own decision to make. But introducing a kid sidekick is...
Yeah, kid sidekicks are always rough.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Short Round. But not a Ki Hoi Kwan. It's not his fault.
He's a delight.
He is a delight.
Yes. Now, the movie is showing its age.
Oh, yeah. Some of those
effects are not great. Some
of the effects are, a little rough.
I was surprised this time. I can't remember when the last time was I watched it, but I was surprised at how quickly they got to the Mummy Imhotep being regenerated.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. Some of those effects on...
They're showing their 1999-ness.
You can tell this is made pre-Lord of the Rings.
Oh, definitely.
There are just a couple milestones in movie history that you can tell it's before or after that. You can tell pre or post Star Wars. Pre or post 1977, effects change there. Lord of the Rings, pre and post.
Yeah.
I think this came out the same year as Fellowship of the Ring, but it's really pre and post Gollum.
Yeah.
Because they used mocap for Imhotep, but it wasn't the same level of mocap they used for Gollum. And even Gollum is showing his age a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, but he's aged very well. Something that no one in Lord of the Rings would say about Gollum.
I was about to say, yeah, the effect has aged well. Gollum has not.
No. So, tell me what you think.
Couple thoughts right off the bat. Great action scenes. I was laughing and excited all the way through. Loved the fight on the boat. Everything catching fire and zany antics going on everywhere.
Right.
Brendan Fraser does a great job of just doing something hilarious in the middle of a fight, but it seeming like it fits.
He's hilarious, but he's so cool during it.
He's so cool doing it. Just like picking up a chair and hucking it at a guy, and the guy just falls flat like a pancake.
Yep.
All the characters were fun. I loved Jonathan. Cracked me up.
Yeah.
Just kind of the...
he's a well-meaning egomaniac. He's completely self-centered.
Yeah, he really feels like a sidekick from a movie in, like, the 50s. You know, he doesn't feel like a 90s character.
Right.
In a good way.
Uh-huh.
He's the kind of character you don't see as much anymore. Like you said, he's a well-meaning egomaniac.
Right.
They would have stumbled more in the direction of bumbling in the 90s. I'm looking at you, Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
You know, Jonathan is fairly competent throughout the movie.
Right, when he's sober.
When he's sober and when he's paying attention and when he's not running in fear.
Right. But even when he's running in fear, he kind of stumbles his way into competence.
Yeah, he kind of...
Like with the boils and sores people. He
yes.
sees them charging at him, so he starts chanting their
Yeah,
little chant.
he starts chanting Imhotep with them and just kind of wears the slack-jawed face like a zombie.
And they fall in line,
Yeah.
and he escapes. When I said well-meaning egomaniac, when his sister has been in mortal danger from this ancient foe, and Rick goes, "Hey, are you okay?" And Jonathan's in the back going, "I'm not sure, but..." It's like, I'm talking about the one that was making out with a mummy just a second ago. But the number of scenes that he says something stupid, and then Rick gives him a dirty look.
Yeah.
And then it just ends.
Loved that interaction. Yeah, those two played off each other really well.
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz.
Weisz, I think is how it's pronounced.
And Brendan Fraser have great chemistry in this. I'd always heard about that before I even watched this.
Yeah.
They're a ton of fun to watch. And then the slimy, cowardly, but also incredibly hilarious Beni.
Dear sweet Beni, played by Kevin J. O'Connor. Yeah.
Who's just the most spineless weasel that ever weaseled.
He's the most slimy toady that has ever graced film. Opportunistic, always looking for the way that's going to hurt him the least.
He's so opportunistic that when faced with this mummy, it's revealed that he has like a totem of some sort for every major religion.
And has learned the prayers.
And has learned the prayers in the language and is just like going through them one by one. Mummy, one by one.
I love that one of them, he does it and the mummy just keeps advancing. He goes, no, okay. Just like
grabs the next one.
I'll keep praying until, like, you know, just...
Yeah.
And it does save him.
It does save him.
He gets the Star of David and starts speaking Hebrew, and Imhotep goes, oh, that's what the slaves spoke. I can communicate with you, you can communicate with them, and we're going to be okay. Yeah. And so he stumbles his way into...
And that's kind of what this movie ends up being repeatedly, which is true to the same sort of things Indiana Jones was mimicking, the 30 serials, where you'd have the cliffhanger where it would look like, oh, the hero's not going to make it, the bad guys got him cornered.
Right.
And then the next issue starts and the hero just kind of stumbles their way out of it because we're not to the big climax yet, so there can't be like a big fight or anything cool, but we gotta move the story forward. So our hero or secondary antagonist just stumbles their way out somehow.
He survives so much because it's not satisfying yet to watch him get his.
Exactly.
But I do love towards the end when Evie goes, you know, people like you always get their comeuppance, and he laughs and goes, wait, they do?
They do?
She goes, yeah, always. And then he sneaks it. He's like, oh yeah, I can see the writing on the wall already. She's way too confident. He's going to lose, and I'm going to be stuck holding the bag.
Yeah.
Not this guy. I'm getting my treasure and I'm getting out.
And then, spoiler alert, he gets his.
And it's his fault. He's the one that causes all of that.
Mm-hmm. I did like how they set that up earlier in the movie, where somebody said Seti had a switch that he could flip that would sink the whole city into the desert.
Right.
And then poor sweet Beni sets his bag on the switch.
Yep.
And sinks the city into the desert.
The thing, he's so superstitious. I'm surprised he looked at this obvious switch coming out of a wall and went, I don't know, I'm kind of tired. I'll put this on here.
That looks like a nice coat rack. Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin J. O'Connor. I haven't seen him in much else. He was in the movie Von Helsing, if you saw that with Hugh Jackman. He played Igor, I think.
Okay.
Under a ton of makeup, but he has a very distinctive kind of mannerism. He was so good in this, and this was so well received. I'm surprised he did not.
Yeah.
You should kind of parlay that into more. I don't know what else he's been in, but I know I haven't seen him in a long time.
Me either.
Always wearing that little fez.
I liked the fez. It was a good touch.
Yep. And he must be using the same stuff as Indiana Jones on that fez, because that thing never comes loose.
True, yeah. I mean, they'll be putting stickum under those or something.
I also liked Oded Fair. He played the head of the Magi.
Yes, yeah, he's really good in this.
You never hear his name. It's Ardith Bey.
That's a good name.
Him. And he was actually supposed to die in his last dance scene there. And then the director went, He's a cool character, and I might have to make a sequel, and I want a cool character ready for that. Just in case Brendan Fraser decides he doesn't want to sign back on, I want to have someone. Of course, for the sequel, Brendan Fraser does come back. Rachel Weisz, Oded Fehr does come back in a larger role. John Hannah, Arnold Vosloo, against all odds, because the mummy dies at the end. But they bring him back through the power of budget. Yeah, I like the kind of creeping feeling to this movie. I mean, it starts with a bang with the flashback to ancient Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
But then when it gets to modern day, and once it gets to Evie,
yeah,
it isn't like this, oh, there's this immediate threat. We know that they are moving towards a threat. We know they didn't show us that whole bit at the beginning and then aren't going to pay that off. There's obviously a curse. There's going to be a mummy in The Mummy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be kind of a cheat to not have a mummy in The Mummy.
Right. But it has this feeling of they are moving towards something inevitable, which is cool. It's an action movie that doesn't rush itself.
Yeah.
Which is a fun vibe.
It takes its time, letting you get to know the characters, getting the vibe of what's coming, while taking, those brief moments to go, oh yeah, something bad's gonna happen later. Just you wait.
It also doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, it's a very fun movie.
Yeah, this is a very funny movie.
Hey, O'Connell, look who has all the horses.
Hey, Beni, looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river. The way the wind always kicks up when they say something ominous, and
yes,
Brendan Fraser almost breaks the fourth wall. That just happens a lot around here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The bit when they're in Hamunaptra and they've run into the Americans and they keep aiming the guns at each other.
Yes.
That always gets me. Yeah, this was a movie that was just on a loop. I was realizing, not only do I remember the line that comes next, I remember the cadence of it. Some of the Egyptian, I knew phonetically. This is one that, even when I wasn't watching it, it was on in the background while I was playing Diablo or Warcraft 2 or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that. This is a classic for me.
I can see why. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Like you said, it doesn't take itself too seriously. You don't feel like you have to sit there and, give it any sort of reverence.
Yeah.
Because it's not giving itself a whole lot of reverence.
In a weird way, I think the fact that the effects haven't aged well kind of lend itself to that. It's kind of like when you watch, Jason and the Argonauts or something the effects don't work well, but it adds to it. Yeah. It does give it that kind of dated feel that it's kind of going for.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? You brought that up. I really got that Jason and the Argonauts vibe in that kind of final fight where Rick is swinging the sword at the priest mummies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this kind of has that stop motion herky-jerky animation kind of thing going for it. I'm like, that's fun. I like that.
It's got charm
everywhere.
Just oozing charm.
It is funny though, because I did have a moment where my knowledge of Egyptian history and mythology and everything kind of made me go, is Evie really bad at Egyptology? Because they're shocked that they find the Book of the Dead in the Anubis statue, who is the god of the dead, and they're shocked that the Book of Amun-Ra is in the Horus statue. Isn't he the son of Ra, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that back up if I'm not getting the comments.
Yeah. How much of that came from Stargate?
All of it. All of it. Don't judge me.
Yeah,
But that was one thing I always was pretty impressed with Stargate, was they were pretty true to all of that. It's like, oh yeah, that was all true. It was just about overly gaudy aliens, humans who have snakes in their heads.
Other thoughts? I keep interrupting you because I love this movie so much.
No, I mean, that's fine. Really scratches that itch I have for more Indiana Jones type movies.
Right.
I want more of those. I will even settle for some pretty bad ones just to get that vibe.
Yeah.
Or even just, some kind of okay ones.
Right. I would put The Mummy Returns in kind of okay.
Yeah.
I've heard The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor or something. They didn't even get Rachel Weisz back for that one. They recast Evie.
Wow.
I've heard that's bad.
Uncharted's pretty good.
Uncharted is fantastic.
The movie version.
Yeah, I like the movie version. It's not accurate to the games, but I'm fine with that.
It kind of just went, hey, what if we took a little bit of 1, a little bit of 3, and some new material and just made our own thing out of it.
There's a little bit of 4 in there as well.
A little bit of 4, yeah. But yeah, it is just a great classic pulpy adventure. Right down to the quippy hero and the sassy female sidekick. I did kind of like that turn towards almost zombie movie in the middle there, with the people with the boils chanting Emotep and just kind of mindlessly walking the streets. That was kind of cool.
You gotta figure, after Emotep is defeated, the people that survived go back to normal.
Right,
You would think the plague subsides, which means there's some innocent people that just...
woke up with horrible injuries from getting run over by a car.
Some of them got blown up, too.
True.
Slashed with a sword. Yeah, some of those people didn't wake up.
True. Yeah, which is a shame, but,
What you gonna do?
Can't be helped.
I got some trivia on this one.
Oh, hit me. I want to learn all about it.
First off, as I usually do, as I said, this movie did well. $80 million budget, $417.4 million box office. Like I said, he got a call the next day.
Wow.
We need you to give us another one.
I knew this was a hit. I remember hearing all about it when I was a kid.
I'm so glad to be doing a movie where I'm like, this did well.
Yeah.
It didn't need a sequel, but it did well.
Yeah.
The scene in which Rick is hanged at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
First off, directors will give direction to the actors. Say, this is what I want you to bring to this scene and all that.
Yeah.
According to Brendan Fraser, his notes on that scene were, look good, don't die.
I mean, that's good notes.
Yep. That second one turned out to be an issue because one take, the rigging didn't work.
Oh, no.
And he actually had to be resuscitated.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser took a beating. It's no wonder that when you read interviews with him about this area, he's like, I was sleeping with just packs of ice all over. My body was destroyed after each movie. The scene towards the end when Beni puts the gold on the camel and it won't go.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do anything for that. All of those camels hated him. They couldn't explain it. They couldn't figure out why. They all hated Kevin J. O'Connor.
That's hilarious.
They couldn't film in Egypt because there was some political strife. I know, that area of the world. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
They filmed in Morocco.
Nice. With good stand-in.
With the support of the army. They actually said that it was a little easier to film in Morocco than if they'd filmed in, Cairo, because Cairo has modernized and large portions of Morocco have not. It wasn't until after filming wrapped that the director told the entire cast, yeah, by the way, we took out kidnapping insurance on all of you.
Oh, geez.
This is not a great part of the world. There was a chance, but had you been kidnapped, we would have been covered. So there you go. Obviously, did not turn out to be an issue. The costumes were provided by a British company called Angels, and they found that, I believe it's one of the lackey nameless guys that were opening the compartment down there and, spoke no English, had no lines, but one of them was given robes that were later found out to be, I believe, the underrobes of the original Obi-Wan Kenobi cloak.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the costume had been thought to be lost. And,
wow.
Yeah, it turned out that it was just sitting down there. I think it was one of those guys.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The original Obi-Wan Kenobi robes appear somewhere in there, and that's the only place I can think of it where it would be.
Yeah, makes sense.
While the movie used a lot of CG, anytime animals didn't have to do something specific, it was real animals.
Oh, that's cool.
The camels were all real. The horses were all real. It turned out to be an issue in the scene with the locusts because Jonathan Hyde, the other guy that wears the fez, had to have the locusts all over him. And when he said, "What have we done?" and he had the hardest time not freaking out with all these locusts crawling all over him.
I mean, I would have a problem with that.
Oh, me too. Yeah, that's not me judging. That's an understandable thing. One that I actually had to go hunting for. This one bothered me for years because they don't put it in the subtitles. There's the scene where Rick is beating up Beni. Mm-hmm. You came back from the desert with the little friend, didn't you, Beni?
Yeah.
He goes, as long as I'm on his side, I'm immune. He goes, immune from what? And Beni says something in Hungarian, and it doesn't subtitle it, just as speaking in Hungarian.
Yeah.
And Rick goes, what did you just say? He's like, I don't want to tell you. You'll just hurt me more. In Hungarian, he calls him a filthy animal. That's it.
Yeah.
I always assumed
That's disappointing, yeah.
I was always hoping that that'd be something a little more severe. But out there, listening, if you, like me, always wondered what he's saying, it's filthy animal. So the only alternate casting I have is for the role of Rick.
Okay.
Which is weird because I feel like Brendan Fraser was the biggest slam dunk in the movie.
Nail it, yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
Apparently really, really wanted to do it, but he was committed to the movie The Beach. The director of The Beach refused to move filming. Could have been Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, or Tom Cruise, who is later cast in the remake.
Yeah, the reboot.
Which I've never seen, but I hear is really bad. But the video game of it, Against All Odds, is incredible.
Yeah, I've seen you play that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's called The Mummy Demastered, and it's like a Super Nintendo-style Metroidvania thing. It's a blast.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Rachel Weisz was the only actress seriously considered for Evie. John Hannah was cast, though he had no idea why.
Yeah.
They went, we want you. It's like, why? This isn't my kind of movie. Like, because you'll be good.
Okay.
Sorry, how many zeros are on the paycheck? Yeah, sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
And then Arnold Vosloo, who played Imhotep, was offered the role after a single audition, and he said he would take it under the condition that he be allowed to play the role perfectly straight, saying that from Imhotep's point of view, it's a skewed version of Romeo and Juliet.
And I actually kind of got that vibe in the flashback. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everything this guy's willing to do after is, kind of messed up. But really, I don't hate him. In the flashback, I don't think he's evil at that point.
Right.
He's definitely willing to cross that line into the evil territory to get back what he wants.
Part of the curse that's put on him, the Home Die, is you're going to bring about the plagues of Egypt and destroy the world.
Yeah.
I guess I don't blame him being like, well, if the entire world's going to be destroyed...
I might as well get what I want out of it.
What's the big deal with me killing this woman who's going to die anyways to get my girlfriend back so I can enjoy the end of the world for a little bit?
Yeah.
Also, don't really know how much of that curse just inflicts evil on him.
Yeah.
From what I understand from how he died, I'd probably be kind of evil too.
Yeah.
But
getting fed to flesh-eating beetles here.
Yeah. We don't talk about the movies too much beforehand.
Yeah.
I did ask Alex, you don't have a big problem with bugs, do you? Because there's a lot of bugs in this movie.
I did when I was a kid. For one specific bug. I saw Wrath of Khan way too young.
Ah, yeah.
And they put the slug in Chekhov's ear.
So as long as it's not a brain-eating slug, you're fine.
Yeah. I've mostly grown out of that, but every once in a while it crosses my mind, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I can see why, Rachel Weisz, perfect casting is...
Oh, yeah.
Kevin J. O'Connor, I can't think of anyone else as the sniveling, slimy rat that is Beni.
Yeah.
John Hannah is, as you said, great as the well-meaning egomaniac.
Yeah.
It's just the stars aligned for this one. Just everything worked out in perfect harmony. And it's not until you see something like The Mummy Returns where you go, oh, no matter how simple that looked, how effortless it looked, it's hard to make a good movie, even with all the right parts. Because they get all the actors back. I think they even got at least some of the writers back. Same director. That whole lightning in a bottle thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some things that become great series effortlessly, and then there are things that's like you made one and none of the others ever measure up.
Yeah. By the way, I love the design of that key.
That's so cool. Yeah,
the kind of star-shaped key that they put in and twist around, and really all of the props, all the weapons look great.
Costumes are amazing.
The costumes are incredible. The design of the books.
Yeah, the books are really rad. The Book of the Dead and the Book of Amun-Ra are both appropriately ominous and appropriately glorious for what they are.
The set design is incredible. At no point did I feel like we were on a backlight. It really captures that classic Hollywood feel. Yeah. Just a little bit later than White Christmas, where we were talking about, oh, well, everything looks like it's on a backdrop, but in a good way. Yeah. This has kind of everything is huge and we had to build all of this because we don't have an alternative. That's one of the things. If this movie with this script was made today, I don't think it would hit as well because it wouldn't have that genuine feel. Even if the effects are better.
Right. They'd film half of it on the volume and call it a day.
Yeah. It would lose some of the magic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a remastered version where they kind of touch up some of the effects.
Oh, yeah. That would be really cool.
Yeah. That doesn't really happen anymore.
No, it doesn't.
No. This is one that, when we were putting it together, I tossed this on the list I'll run it past him surely. As much of a fan as he is of Indiana Jones and Uncharted and all of that, surely he's seen The Mummy. And so when you said no, it's like, oh my God, really? I get this big of a win? I get to introduce you to this thing? So I feel like it goes without saying this is a buy it.
Oh, it's a buy it, for sure.
Is this a wait for it on sale or buy it as soon as you go home?
I mean, I imagine it's not much.
I can't imagine
nowadays, yeah. So, I mean, it's probably going to be a buy full price.
Yeah. And if you can get a bundle deal with The Mummy Returns,
might be worth it at that point.
It's a bundle deal movie.
Okay.
Yeah. It has some really, really good parts.
Gotcha.
I don't want you watching it and going, what was Dan talking about? This is incredible.
Yeah.
Wait 15 minutes and you'll get some of the parts that are less. And then wait another 15 minutes and it gets
awesome again.
Awesome again, yeah.
And then wait another 15 minutes, it gets terrible again.
This is also a movie that has got kind of a resurgence over the past few years.
Yeah.
Kind of as Brendan Fraser has kind of re-entered the...
Which, good for him.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan.
All the best for him. He seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, everything I've heard. I think it was a big movie for people of our generation. Mm-hmm. And we've got, a big voice now. And also buy a stupid bumper sticker for my car money, where I've seen people in real life with the bumper sticker honk if you love the 1999 Mummy movie. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go off.
Any other thoughts?
I need more movies like this.
We all do.
Yeah.
Hollywood, get on it.
Yeah.
Just make fun action movies.
The last thing I've gotten like this outside of, the new Indiana Jones, which I liked.
I did too.
I know a lot of people were not fans.
You have to be ready for it to get weird.
Act movie gets weird. Yeah.
You put it best, and I had already seen it when you mentioned this, but I agree. In the third act, it takes a hard left turn. If you're ready for it and you hold on for it, it gets there. Mm-hmm. But if you're not ready for it, it'll buck you off and it'll lose you.
Yeah.
So
loved that. The other movies that kind of got the same just pulpy adventure vibe for me were the Jumanji movies.
Jumanji did really well. I'd say you get some of this in like Captain America: First Avenger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it just feels really real through all of it.
But yeah, it's great to have a good pulpy adventure to add to my collection.
Your repertoire.
My repertoire.
Yeah.
When I'm looking for, just brainless fun.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting, thrilling. You got swords, you got mummies, you got quippy heroes.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, you want to talk about socials?
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
You can find us on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Search the words "You Skipped That" with a question mark at the end. That'll get you right to us. We post every Friday to tell you what episode is coming up on Monday. So I'll make sure you hop over there and see that. It's a nice little preview. Give you a chance to watch the movie if you too have skipped it.
The whole weekend.
We're also on Threads and Instagram at You Skipped That.
Okay.
Not posting a ton on Threads right now, but on Instagram, every Wednesday, I post a single screenshot from the movie we'll be covering, and gives you all a chance to guess what that movie is going to be.
I'm interested to see what you have for this one.
I'll pick something kind of obscure for this one, as popular as it is.
Nice.
Like, the more popular the movie is, I try and find something really obscure. Mm. The one I had for Batman, no one guessed.
Really?
And to me, it was a moment in the movie that kind of stuck out to me.
So I'm pulling up Instagram here. Oh, look, it has our logo on it and everything.
It does.
Oh, I definitely would have gotten Arthur Christmas.
Yeah?
Christmas the Cranks. I probably would have gotten White Christmas.
I liked the one for White Christmas.
Yeah.
That one was sneaky.
That's obscure. I don't know that I would have gotten Batman.
You wouldn't have gotten Batman off that?
I might have. I don't know. Yeah, I know exactly what scene that is, but I don't know if I hadn't known it in context.
But yeah, so, if you guys want to hop on our Instagram, go through a few of the old ones and see if you would have guessed it. Might be a fun little way to pass half an hour or so.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look through that more.
You should. It's,
the challenge isn't
your
there.
podcast.
The challenge isn't there for me. I know what movies
this
are
is
coming
true.
in.
This is true.
All right, well, we're going to get out of here so that I can start looking at Instagram and being a good fan of my own show. And I don't know what you're going to do.
I don't know.
Work on next week's Instagram post.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, something like that. But we'll be back next week with one of Alex's movies. I think the most recent movie we've ever done.
Yeah, this movie just left theaters like 2 months ago when we're recording
As
this.
of recording.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't long ago.
As of the release of this episode, the movie is less than a year old.
This is the most recent new release I've seen in theaters.
Last movie I saw in theaters was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
Anyways, until next time, I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
And this has been You Skipped That.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.